We live in a world where people often wait for bold, obvious gestures to confirm someone's interest. Flowers, grand dates, a sudden confession under the stars, and sure, those things are beautiful, they're cinematic. But real attraction, especially when it's secret or unspoken, rarely announces itself in fireworks. Instead, it shows up in the small things, the micro-actions, the moments that slip under the radar but speak volumes if you know how to listen. When a man is secretly attracted to you, his words may not say it, he may not confess it, and he might even deny it if asked, but his actions, that's where the truth lies. It's in the way he subtly shifts his schedule just to be around you. It's in the way he remembers that one specific thing you said weeks ago, even when you've long forgotten. It's in how he offers to help with something small, not because it's convenient, but because it gives him an excuse to be in your world. See, attraction isn't always theatrical. It often begins in the quiet, the way he sits a little closer when there's no real need, the way his eyes linger for just a moment longer than necessary, the way he brings up things you've said, not because they're important, but because they matter to you. These aren't coincidences. They're clues. He's not just present. He's tuned in. And when a man is tuned in, it means something deeper is going on. People don't give that kind of attention to those they feel neutral about. Think about it, we're all busy, we all have distractions, but when someone keeps showing up for you in small, intentional ways, when they check in, offer support, listen with full presence, that's not just friendship. That's emotional investment trying not to expose itself. Often, he won't even realize he's doing it. He'll just find himself texting you when something funny happens, wanting to share a moment. He'll glance your way when someone else is talking to you, not out of control, but curiosity. Maybe even protectiveness. He'll give you advice that feels more thoughtful than casual, or he'll go out of his way to help with something you never even asked for. Why? Because part of him wants to matter in your life, even if he hasn't admitted it to himself yet. Micro-actions are powerful because they're not filtered. People can rehearse what they say, they can script a text, plan a date, even fake a compliment, but you can't fake instinct. You can't fake how someone naturally behaves when they think nobody's watching. That's when the truth leaks out. That's when attraction, real, honest, and sometimes scary, shows up without permission. This is why it's so important to stop looking for loud signals and start paying attention to patterns. Is he consistent? Does he show up when it's inconvenient? Is his effort steady, even in small doses? Because anyone can give you attention once. But someone who's secretly into you will keep showing up in small, meaningful ways over time. Even if it's subtle, even if it's slow. His affection isn't scattered, it's quiet, but it's focused. There's also a protective layer to this. He may not declare his feelings because he doesn't know where you stand. He might be guarding himself, testing the emotional waters. So instead of risking rejection with a grand gesture, he gives you access to his time, to his energy, to his presence. And access is a gift people only give when they're invested. Watch for the moments where his effort seems unnecessary but still shows up. Like when he notices you're not quite yourself and checks in, even when you try to play it off. Or when he offers you the better seat, grabs something you forgot, or remembers details about your family, your dreams, your fears. These aren't favors, they're signals, and they often mean more than 1,000 romantic words ever could. The reason micro-actions matter is because they're harder to fake and easier to trust. They build a foundation. They reveal emotional depth without demanding emotional risk. They tell you he cares, even if he's scared to say it. He's watching, even if he's pretending not to. He's choosing you, even when he hasn't announced it. Conclusion: don't fall into the trap of thinking attraction only shows up in big, bold moves. The truth, It usually starts in the silence, in the glance, in the detail he remembers, in the help he offers without asking. A man who is secretly attracted to you won't always tell you with words, but he'll show you in how he shows up, in how he listens, and in how he makes you feel seen without trying too hard. Learn to trust the microactions. Because once you see them clearly, you'll never be confused about where you stand again. We spend so much time decoding mixed signals, looking for signs, and wondering what someone really feels. But if there's one thing that cuts through all the confusion, it's this: a man who is consistently present is not confused about you. He may not say it directly, he may not label it out loud, but if he keeps showing up again and again, it's not random. It's intentional, and that consistency is the message. See, attraction that's deep, genuine, and worth your time doesn't come in waves. It's not a one-day thing. It's not a burst of attention followed by silence. Real interest shows up in patterns, not peaks. And when a man is secretly attracted to you, he may not declare it right away, but his consistency will give him away. He'll message you without needing a reason. He'll check in just to see how your day's going. He won't disappear for days and then come back with an excuse. He won't leave you waiting for responses or constantly questioning where you stand, because when someone genuinely values you, even secretly, they can't help but be steady. They want to stay connected. They need to be near your energy. Consistency is one of the clearest ways to spot real emotional investment, because it's harder to fake. Anyone can make a good impression once. Anyone can plan a cute moment, say the right thing, even charm you with effort for a day or two. But someone who's consistently thoughtful, attentive, and emotionally available over time, that's not a performance. That's a pattern, and here's the truth most people don't want to admit. Inconsistency is a decision. When someone goes hot and cold, when their effort fluctuates depending on their mood or convenience, that's not confusion. That's clarity in disguise. But when a man, even quietly, keeps showing up in your world, he remembers things, supports you, makes you feel seen, and does it over and over again, that's not luck. That's a reflection of how you matter to him. It might be subtle, he might not be overwhelming you with gifts or words, but he'll make time even when it's not easy. He'll prioritize you in ways that don't feel forced. Maybe he sends a good luck text before your big meeting, or checks in after a stressful week. Maybe he remembers your favorite snack, or asks about that thing you were nervous about last month. None of it is grand, but all of it is real. When a man is secretly attracted to you, consistency is how he builds a bridge toward you, one step at a time. He may not know how to say what he's feeling, or he may be guarding his heart, but his steady presence is his way of saying, "You matter to me." It's his love language in action. Here's the part that gets overlooked. Consistency isn't just about frequency. It's about quality. It's the way he shows up. Is he emotionally present when you talk or distracted? Is he thoughtful in the way he engages with you, or just going through the motions? Is he reliable when you need him, or only available when it's convenient? You'll know he's truly invested if he shows up for the boring stuff, not just the fun stuff. It's easy to be around when everything's light and exciting. But a man who keeps checking in, who remembers the tough conversations, who stays connected even when there's no benefit to him, that's not casual. That's consistency driven by care. This kind of steady attention creates emotional safety. It tells you you don't have to guess, you don't have to chase, you don't have to earn his presence. And that's what real attraction is supposed to feel like you can exhale, like you can trust the rhythm of his energy in your life. And yes, this kind of man may be subtle. He may not make grand romantic declarations or take center stage, but don't underestimate the power of quiet consistency, because in a world full of distractions, effort that doesn't waver is one of the clearest signs of real, honest affection. So if you're wondering whether someone secretly likes you, stop listening to what he says when it's convenient and start watching what he does when no one's asking. Does he follow through? Does he keep his word? Does he create space for you in his life again and again, without being prompted? That's consistency. That's a man whose actions are trying to tell a story his words haven't caught up to yet. Conclusion: love doesn't always come with a label. Attraction doesn't always come with a confession, but consistency is always a clue. A man who is secretly into you won't just show up once, he'll show up often. Not because he's trying to impress you, but because he genuinely values being part of your world. In the end, real interest doesn't disappear and come back with an excuse. It stays, it shows up, and it speaks quietly but clearly through the rhythm of reliable effort. So trust the pattern, not the performance. Because if he's consistent, he's already telling you how he feels. You just have to believe it. You know what's funny? A man who's secretly into you might not say a word about it. He might not flirt in obvious ways or even admit to himself how he feels. But if you pay close attention not to his words, but to his energy, you'll see it. Because when a man feels something for you, even quietly, he develops a sense of protectiveness that's hard to hide. It's not possessive, it's not controlling, it's subtle, but it's real, and it speaks volumes. Let's be clear. I'm not talking about the kind of man who tries to dominate you or play hero. That's ego. That's insecurity. The kind of protection I'm talking about, it's emotional, it's respectful, it's the kind that shows up in the way he watches over you without making a show of it, the kind that's rooted in care, not control. Maybe he notices when you're uncomfortable and subtly shifts the environment so you feel safer. Maybe he picks up on a weird vibe from someone around you and doesn't like how they're treating you, so he finds a way to stick close, just in case. Or maybe he hears someone speak to you in a way that doesn't sit right with him, and even if he doesn't explode or confront them, you feel his energy shift, his eyes narrow, his jaw tightens because he felt it. That's protection without permission. It's when a man quietly takes it upon himself to look out for your well-being, not because he thinks you're fragile, but because your peace matters to him, your comfort matters, your emotional safety matters. And here's the thing, a man who secretly has feelings for you might not even realize he's doing it. It just comes out naturally, it's instinctual. He finds himself standing up for you in subtle ways, taking your side when no one else does, or guiding you through a crowded space with his hand gently on your back, not to claim you, but to shield you from discomfort, from stress, from chaos. That's real attraction in action. It's the kind that runs deeper than charm or flirty words. It's protective energy, and it's powerful. You might notice it in conversation, too. Like when you're being hard on yourself, and he won't let you spiral. He interrupts the narrative. He tells you you're doing better than you think. He reminds you of your strength. That's protection. That's him guarding not just your body but your spirit, your self-worth. He's not just watching out for you physically. He's emotionally invested in your stability. Sometimes the signs are even smaller, like how he walks you to your car without making a big deal about it, how he texts to make sure you got home safe, or how he insists on handling a situation that's stressing you out, not because he doesn't think you can handle it, but because he wants to lift that weight. He wants to make life a little lighter for you, even if you never asked. And when someone else enters the picture, someone who might be showing you attention, he won't always say it, but his energy changes. He pays closer attention. Maybe he jokes a little more, or throws in a sarcastic comment about the other guy. Or maybe he withdraws, but not out of disinterest, out of a feeling he's not ready to confront. That's subtle jealousy, that's also protective energy. It's his heart trying to guard something it hasn't claimed but wants to. This kind of behavior is often dismissed because it's not loud, it's not aggressive. It's not obvious, but it's constant, it's reliable, it's present in the background, like a safety net you didn't realize you had, and more often than not, it shows up before any romantic words ever do. So if you're wondering whether a man feels something for you even if he's never said it, ask yourself this. Does he show up when you're in distress? Does he step in when someone makes you uncomfortable? Does he stay a little closer when things feel uncertain? That's not just friendship. That's not politeness. That's protective energy, and that is rooted in attraction, whether he admits it or not. Conclusion: you don't need a man to shout his feelings from the rooftop to know he cares. Sometimes the loudest emotions are expressed in the quietest moments, when he watches over you, stands up for you, or simply makes you feel safe without asking for anything in return. That protective energy, it's not a coincidence, it's his heart moving before his mouth catches up. So don't overlook the subtle ways he shields you, because when a man silently protects you, it's not about ego, it's about attachment. It's about intention, and it's often the clearest sign that he feels something deeper than he's ready to say. Sometimes the strongest emotions don't come out in the way you expect. They don't look like passion. They don't sound like love songs. They don't even resemble kindness. Sometimes they show up dressed as something else entirely, something colder, quieter, harder to read. When a man is secretly attracted to you and doesn't know what to do with that emotion, or doesn't feel safe enough to express it, it can come out as indifference. But underneath that mask, what you're really seeing is jealousy, and it's not the loud, obvious kind. It's not the dramatic scene, the territorial behavior, or the heated confrontation. No, this jealousy is disguised. It's subtle. It shows up in the way his tone shifts when you talk about another guy, in the way he suddenly becomes emotionally unavailable right after you mention someone who gave you attention, in the way he pulls back, not because he doesn't care, but because he cares too much and doesn't know how to show it. You see, when a man hasn't made his move yet, when he hasn't declared his feelings, but he feels something real for you, your interest in someone else doesn't feel neutral to him. It feels like loss. It feels like competition, but instead of stepping forward, he hides. He pretends it doesn't affect him. He tells himself, and maybe even you, that it's none of his business, that you can do what you want. But that coldness, that distance, that sudden shift in energy, that is his business. That is his heart reacting in silence. It might sound like sarcasm when you mention someone who complimented you, a passive-aggressive joke, a dismissive "oh, nice," when you tell him about a date you went on. Maybe he avoids the topic entirely, changes the subject, or just withdraws. That isn't apathy, it's emotional self-defense. It's jealousy wrapped in silence. He's feeling more than he's ready to say, so he protects himself by pretending he doesn't feel anything at all. This is where a lot of people get confused. They think if he was interested, wouldn't he show it? But attraction isn't always courageous, especially when it's still forming or buried under fear. Some men don't step up because they don't believe they're enough, or they've been hurt before, or they tell themselves it's safer to hold back than to be vulnerable. So instead of risking it all, they pull away and pretend you don't matter, when in reality you're consuming their thoughts. Watch how his behavior changes when other people enter the picture. If he's usually warm and present, but becomes distant after hearing about someone else in your life, that's not a coincidence. If he suddenly seems less available, less engaged, less light-hearted, it's not about your actions. It's about his feelings, feelings he hasn't fully admitted to himself. He's jealous, but he doesn't think he has the right to be, so he puts on a mask. Indifference becomes his armor, and you know what's tricky about this. It makes you question yourself. You start thinking maybe he never felt anything. Maybe you imagined the chemistry. Maybe you misread the signs, but you didn't. That chemistry was real. That connection existed. He just wasn't ready to claim it. And so when he felt threatened, instead of stepping forward, he retreated and let you believe he didn't care. But caring silently is still caring. Jealousy without ownership is still emotion. The thing is, he hasn't made you his, and he might never, but that doesn't mean he's unaffected. On the contrary, his silence is his scream. His withdrawal is his reaction. His coldness, that's heat he's trying to control. It's not your job to fix that. You don't need to chase or perform to earn his clarity, but it's important you recognize what's actually happening, because understanding it helps you stop internalizing rejection that was never about you in the first place. His distance doesn't mean you weren't desirable, it means you mattered too much and it scared him. That's the complexity of human attraction. Sometimes it moves us forward, and sometimes it paralyzes us. A man can feel deeply for you and still act distant. He can want you and still avoid you. He can burn with jealousy and still play it cool. Because in his mind, admitting what he feels is risky, and if he doesn't know where you stand, or he's afraid of losing face, it's easier to pretend he doesn't feel anything at all. Conclusion. So if you're facing a man who seems distant when other guys are around, who jokes his way through your stories about dating, or who suddenly becomes unavailable when he senses competition, don't be fooled by the front. That indifference you're seeing, it's not coldness, it's not a lack of care. It's jealousy, quiet, concealed, and uncomfortable, but it's real, and more often than not, it's a sign of feelings too deep to admit, too early to act on, and too complicated for words. Learn to read the silence, because behind it is a truth he might never say out loud, but one you deserve to recognize anyway. Attraction doesn't always start with words. In fact, the most honest part of a man is often the part he can't control. His body, you can tell yourself he's just being friendly, that you're probably imagining the chemistry, that you're reading too much into it, but when a man is secretly into you, his body will speak before his mouth ever does. Because the truth, his body betrays his mind, and by betray, I mean this: no matter how much he tries to hide it, suppress it, or keep it cool, there are little signs that keep slipping through. The way his eyes linger just a moment longer than they should, the way his voice softens when he talks to you, the way his posture subtly shifts every time you enter the room, it's all there, quiet, involuntary, and powerful. He might act indifferent. Maybe he doesn't text first. Maybe he keeps it casual in conversation. But when you're near him, his nervous system lights up. You'll see it in how he fidgets when you talk to someone else. You'll hear it in the way his laugh changes around you. It's not the laugh he uses with everyone else, it's a little more alive, a little more intimate. That's his body reacting before he even knows why. Think about eye contact. A man who is secretly attracted to you might not always hold your gaze, but he seeks it. There's this flicker, a hesitation. Maybe he looks away quickly when you catch him staring, or he smiles in that half-guilty, half-playful way when you lock eyes. That's not coincidence. That's his interest peeking out, even when he's trying to stay neutral. And then there's physical proximity. He'll find excuses to be near you, not in an obvious, pushy way, but in the kind of way that keeps him close enough to feel your energy. Maybe he always chooses the seat next to you. Or he hovers a little longer in your conversations, or he walks beside you when there are plenty of other people he could be walking with. That closeness, it's not strategy, it's instinct. Even how he mirrors you says something. You cross your arms, and a few seconds later, he does too. You tilt your head, and he unconsciously follows. That's his nervous system syncing with yours. That's chemistry happening on a physical level before either of you can fully process it emotionally. You might also notice how he becomes more aware of his body around you. He adjusts his shirt, fixes his posture, runs his hand through his hair more often. These aren't signs of arrogance, they're signs of someone subconsciously wanting to impress, to appear a little more confident, a little more attractive, even if he doesn't fully understand why. And the voice. That's another big tell. He might lower it when he's talking to you. He might slow down, speak a little softer, as if he's letting you into a part of him no one else gets. That change in tone, that shift in rhythm, that's his desire slipping through the cracks. It's not something he rehearses, it just happens, and don't forget how he reacts when you touch him. Even casually, a hand on his shoulder, a brush on his arm, watch his reaction. Does he freeze for a split second? Does his breath change? That micro moment of stillness, of heightened awareness, is his body going, whoa, that's not nothing. That's electricity. Here's the truth. When a man is secretly into you, he's in a constant tug-of war between what he feels and what he thinks he should reveal. Maybe he's trying to stay composed. Maybe he's telling himself it's not the right time, or he's not good enough, or that it's safer to just be your friend. But the one thing he can't control, the way his body responds to you. That's the giveaway. You don't need to hear a confession to feel a connection. His body language is his confession. It's his emotional honesty, raw and unfiltered, slipping past all his filters. And once you learn to read it, you'll realize you were never imagining things. You were noticing what his heart was too scared to admit. Conclusion: attraction doesn't always announce itself with words. Sometimes the most honest signals are the quietest ones: a glance that lingers, a breath that catches, a hand that twitches when you're near. His body betrays what his mind is still guarding, and when you see that, when you notice how everything about him shifts in your presence, believe it, because the body doesn't lie. And when it speaks in those subtle, beautiful, involuntary ways, it's often revealing the feelings he hasn't found the courage to say out loud yet.